Hi, welcome to this Corbettmaths video on multiplying matrices, and in this video we're going to focus on multiplying 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 matrices. So here we've got our first matrix, 2, 1, 0, 3, and we're going to multiply that by the matrix 4, 2, 1, 5. Now to multiply 2 by 2 matrices together, it will seem quite complicated the first time you see it or encounter it, but then the more you do, you'll realize it's just the same pattern, the same sequence of sums that you do each time. Okay, so let's have a look at our first example. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the first row, so that's the 2 and the 1, by the first column, the 4 and the 1. Then we're going to multiply the first row, the 2 and the 1 again, by then the second column, the 2 and the 5. Then we'll move on to the second row and we'll multiply that by the first column, and then we'll multiply that by the second column. So let's have a look at that in a bit more detail. So our first multiplication is the first row times the first column, and to do that we multiply the 2 by the number on the top row, the 4, and you multiply the second number, the 1, by the number on the bottom row here, the 1. Okay, so 2 times 4, well 2 times 4 is 8. And then we do the 1 times the 1, and 1 times 1 is 1, and then we add those together, so 8 plus 1 is equal to 9, and it goes in the first position here in the top left. So to multiply the first row by the first column, you just multiply the first number by the number on the top, and then the second number by the number on the bottom, and then you just add those two together, and that will give us 9. Okay, now we've done the first row times the first column, we're going to move on to the first row times the second column, and that'll answer, it'll go here. So moving on, we're going to do 2 times 2, which is 4, and then we're going to do 1 times 5, which is 5, and we add those two together, and that also gives us 9. So 9 is going to go in the second position here at the top right there. Okay, so we've done the first row times the second column, so we've done 2 times 2, and then the 1 times the number on the bottom, which is 5, and then add those together. 4 plus 5 is equal to 9. So we've done the first row times the first column and the first row times the second column. We're now going to move on to the second row, the 0 and the 3. We'll times that by the first column, and then we'll times it by the second column. So then the second row times the first column, so the 0, the number here in the bottom left will be multiplied by the number on the top. So for 0 times 4 is 0, and then we'll do 3 times the number on the bottom, 1, 3 times 1 is equal to 3, and we'll add those together and we'll get 3. So I'll go in the bottom left hand position there, and then we'll repeat that for then the second column. So we're going to do again the 0 times the number on the top, so 0 times 2 is equal to 0, and 3 times 5 is equal to 15. Adding those together will give us 15. So the number down here in the bottom right will be 15. So if we were asked to multiply the matrices 2, 1, 0, 3 by 4, 2, 1, 5, the answer would be 9, 9, 3, 15. Okay, so that's our first example. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at a second one, and we'll just see it's the same procedure this time as well. So this time I've put some negatives in here just to make it a bit more interesting. So we're going to multiply 1, 3, minus 4, 2 by 7, negative 3, and minus 3, minus 1, and 5. Okay, remember we're going to multiply just in order. The first row times the first column. We're then going to do the first row by the second column. We will then do the second row by the first column, and we will do the second row by the second column. Okay, so let me show you how I would do this if I was just doing this on a piece of paper myself. So I would write down the brackets for the matrix. I'm going to do 1, so this row times this column. So 1 times 7 is 7, and 3 times, let's write that down, 1 times 7 is 7, and 3 times minus 1 is minus 3, so we're going to add together minus 3, and 7 plus minus 3, well that's going to be taken away 3, which would be 4, so 4 will be our first answer there. Our next one, so we're going to do the first row times the second column, so 1 times minus 3 is minus 3, and then we're going to do 3 times 5, which is 15, so plus 15, so minus 3 plus 15 is 12, so that'll be our second number there. Next, the second row by the first column, so we'll do minus 4 times 7, and minus 4 times 7 is minus 28, and then the 2 times the minus 1, and 2 times minus 1 is equal to minus 2. So we've got, and we're adding minus 2, so we've got minus 28 plus minus 2. When you plus a minus, it gets smaller, so we're taking away 2. So minus 28 take away 2 will be minus 30. And our last one is then the second row times the second column. So we're going to do negative 4 times negative 3. That's 12, because remember a negative times a negative is a positive, so that's 12. Then we're going to add, and we're going to be doing the 2 times the 5, and 2 times 5 is 10, so we're adding on 10, and so 12 plus 10 is equal to 22, and that's it. So if we're asked to multiply together 1, 3, minus 4, 2, by 7, minus 3, minus 1, 5, the answer would be 4, 12, minus 30, 22, and that's it. So whenever you're multiplying 2 by 2 matrices together, the most important thing is to remember that you're just multiplying the first row by the first column. So you multiply the 1 by the 7, the 3 by the minus 1, or whatever numbers are in those position, and then add them together. The first row by the second column, so you'll do the 1 times the number here, the 3 by the number there, and then add them together. The second row by the first column, the minus 4 times whatever number's there, the 2 by whatever number's there, add them together, and then finally the second row by the second column, again that number by that number, that number by that number, and then add them together, and that's how you multiply matrices.